Good. The slope is 5. Good. So now, what does the 5 tell you about what does the 5 tell you about y and x? What does it tell you?
There is a positive correlation.
Good. There's a positive correlation. Good. And that's the first one. A positive correlation simply means that as y is increasing, x is also increasing. Again, what again does the slope tell you? Again, what does the slope tell you? Again, what does the slope tell you? Yes. Who can help us again? What does the slope tell you? Now, the slope also tells us that, look, anytime x increase by 1 unit, your y will increase. Your y will increase by 5 units. So for instance, if x is 0, we can see that y is 6. So now if I increase x to 1, I mean from 0 to 1, now this y will increase by 5. So the, if I put 1 here, I'll get 11. Now if I increase y by 2, I will get 16. Have you seen that? So you realize that anytime I increase y by 1 unit, x will, x by 1 unit, y will also increase by 1 unit. Can you see that? If I increase x by 1 unit, y will always increase by 5 units. Can we see that? Can we see that? Please, can you respond? Can we see that? Or do you understand? Who doesn't understand? If you don't understand it, you can just type. Yes or no. You can just type. If you cannot speak, you can just type. Okay. Now I'm saying that there is the slope of the graph shows us the relationship between the two variables. And now the two variables here are x and y. Have you seen that? So what the slope does is that if I increase x by 1 unit, if I increase this x here, anytime this x I increase it by 1, this y will increase by 5. That is the definition of, that is the meaning of this slope. Have you seen that? So you find out that if I can draw a table like this, and here is x, and here is y. When x is 0, y is 6. When x is 1, y is 11. When x is 2, y is 16. When x is 3, y is 21. When x is 4, y is 26. So you realize that anytime I increase x by 1 unit, y always increases by 5 units. Can you notice that?
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay, good. So in the same vein, if I decrease x by 1 unit, y will also decrease by 5 units. Good. Now let's put this one. If I put something like this, y equals to minus 2x plus 4. Now, can you tell me the meaning of the slope? Who can tell me the meaning of the slope?
So there is a negative correlation.
Negative correlation. Okay, and what is that correlation? What is the specific correlation? There is a negative correlation. Fine. So what is the specific one? What is specific about the correlation?
Oh, so Sx increases, Y decreases.
Yes, we have established that one. That is the same as the correlation, negative correlation. But I want the actual correlation between y and x, like how I did the first one. I want the actual correlation between y and x, or x and y. Who can tell us? Who can tell us? Now, can you see that? Ne? Anytime x will increase by 1 unit, y will decrease by 2 units. Have you seen that? Good, good, good. Okay, yeah, good. Have you seen that? Now, let me display it for you to see. Now you see that we have x and y. So if you see that if x is 0, y is 4, positive 4. Now, when x becomes 1, you find out that y becomes 2. If x becomes 2, y becomes 0. If x becomes 3, y becomes negative 2. If x is 4, y becomes negative 4. So you can see that anytime I increase x by 1 unit, y would decrease by 2 units. Can we see that? Can we see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Okay, now if you can see that, then what will be this? All of you should write your answer for this one. If I write y equals to negative 4/5 x plus 6. Now, what does this slope tells us? What does this tells us? Who can help us here? Who can tell us?
So I think as x increases by 1, y decreases by 0.8.
As x increases by 1, y decreases by 0.8. Okay, good. So can you put it in terms of integers? Let me see. I want it to in integers. Integers, not decimals. Everything in integers. Can you help us there? Who can tell us? Okay, good. Now let's see this. As he said correct, x increases by 1 unit, y will decrease by 0.8 units. That was not wrong. Have you seen? So now if you are going to put it in integers, you can say that if x increases by the one up, which is 4 units, then y will decrease by 5 units, the one down. No, the other way down. Sorry. This is wrong. I'm so sorry. We can also put it this way. If x increases by 5 units, that is the one down, y will decrease by 4 units. Can we see that? Can we see that? Can we see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, okay, any questions? Okay, no, okay, so good. So if I write this, y equals to 10 over 3x plus 2. Who can tell us? Or if you can't speak, you can just write it. And when it is the x increases by the y increases by the numerator, and if the fraction as x increases by the y will increase by the numerator. I said, if it is a fraction, if x increases by the um, denominator, y will increase by the numerator when it's positive. And when it's negative, if x increases by the denominator, y will decrease by the numerator. Can we see that? So can you tell me the answer now? Who can tell us the answer now? Who can help us with the answer now? No, Paula, no. Remember that here is positive. Remember that here is positive. So what's going to happen? No, x increases always with the numerator. X is with the numerator, y is with, x is with the denominator, sorry, y is with the numerator. So can you write it for me now? Good. So anytime X will increase by 3 units, Y will increase by 10 units. Good. That's how it's supposed to be like. Please, any questions? Please, any questions? Okay. Yes. Okay, maybe you were not here when we joined the normal one, when we started. Okay, so let us say when you have um, let us say we have y equals to 5x plus 6. Let us see that 5 is the same as y equals to 5 divided by 1x plus 6. Have you seen that? So here, if anytime x increases by 1 unit, denominator, sorry, anytime x increases by 1 unit, denominator, y will increase by 5 units, numerator. You see that? Then let us say when you have y equals to minus 3x plus 2, y will be the same as minus 3x over y plus 2. You see? So now because it's a negative, you see that so here, the first one, as if x increases by 1 unit, y will increase by 5 units. Then here, if x increases by 1 unit, y will decrease by 3 units. Please, is it clear? Or can we go on? Okay, good. Okay, good. Okay, so let's look at if you understand the what do you call it, the gradient. Then I don't think unit 4 will be that strange for us to understand. So let us go through the units. So we know how a straight line looks like, and we can find the equation of a straight line. Good. Now, if you can, we can look at this function. This function can be like a supply function. Okay, no, let's go on. Let's get a proper question. Okay, so if you look at this activity, say that y equals to activity. Let's look at activity 4,2. It says that the demand curve can be expressed mathematically in a functional form as QD will be as a function of price. I hope you cannot see that. P. I hope you cannot see that. Okay, good. Then here it says that use the table below to sketch the demand curve. Place price on the y-axis and quantity on the x-axis. Please, I should believe all of you should sketch the graph. But please, what I would like you to notice that you see that here it says that we should place price on the y-axis and demand on the x-axis. So the demand, let us say QD on the x-axis. But let us remember that if you are writing the actual equation, you write it, QD will become your dependent variable and it will be as a function of P, which will be your independent variable. Please, do we get a distinction here? Because that's one common mistake that you all make. Do we get a distinction here? Do we get a distinction here? Okay, so we can go on. Okay, good. Now, so I should believe that all of you can find it. Once you find it, you can find the x intercept, y intercept from the graph. Now, what will happen with demand of gasoline if the price increases? Obviously, once price increases, the demand will fall. You all know that because from the law of equation of from the law of demand. Then, what is the direct correlation between um, um, what is the direction of the correlation? Obviously, when you plot the graph, it is going to be something like this. If here is price and here is demand, let us say QD. When you plot the graph, you are going to see that as the graph will look like this. That is, as price increasing, demand will drop. As price decreases, demand will increase. Then you see that estimate the demand for gasoline at a price of 2.15. Obviously, when you plot the graph correctly, you can easily trace. So I don't think these are any strange questions. You can do these questions unless there are any questions there from on question activity 4 that you can do. Please, is there any question there on activity 4 point? What do you call it? Are there any questions on activity 4 point? It is 4. I'm not so sure of the number, but are there any questions here that any of you cannot do? Are there any questions here that any of you cannot do? Okay, then let's go on. Now, this one was what I was doing at the beginning, interpretation of the slope. Have you seen? So now, if you can look at here, have you seen that? We have quantity demanded equals to 80 minus 3p. So who can tell me the slope? What will be the slope here? Who can tell us the slope? 3. Okay, so who can tell me the meaning of the slope? The actual meaning of the slope. Who can tell us the actual meaning of the slope? Yes, you can type, you can see any of them. tell us the actual meaning of the slope.
If P increase by 1 and Y will decrease by 3.
So here you can say why. If the price increase by 1 unit, the quantity demanded will decrease by what? 3 units.
Yes.
Okay, good. Please, any questions with what he said? Any questions with what he said? Yes, Paula, it will have a negative correlation, but now you must be able to tell us the actual correlation. You understand me? You must be able to tell us the specific correlation that it is going to undergo. Have you seen that? So that is what he said, that once the price increases by 1 unit, we are talking about this. Once the price increases by 1 unit, the quantity demanded will drop or fall by 3 units. Is that fine, Paula? Is that fine? Okay, good. So we can go on. A minute. Um, okay, let's go on. Now, so here too we can see this. Here too, the meaning is that you see that here they have rated price. Now look at it, they have changed the whole thing. Now price is as the what do you call it? They can treat you this way, but this is not a standard way of writing um, an equation of demand. Actually, this equation, it should have been something like this. Um, it should have been something like this. QD, I will make QD the subject. Quantity demanded will be equals to minus 5 P plus 150 plus 150. So now, here, what does this mean? You see, if you are looking at it from this angle, obviously from here, then it simply means that anytime the quantity demanded increases by 5 units, the price will decrease by 1 unit. You understand me? So now, if you are looking at it from here, it simply means that anytime the price increase by 1 unit, the quantity demanded will decrease by 5 units. So let me write it here. If you are looking at it with this equation, it means that anytime Q increases by 5 units, price will decrease by 1 unit. Then when you look at it from this angle, you see that anytime price will increase by 1 unit, quantity demanded will decrease by 5 units. Does it make sense to you? Does it make sense to you? Does it make sense to you, please? Okay, good. Now let's go on. So these questions, I should believe all of you can do that. So it will not be any um, difficult thing to undertake. Okay, good. Then what again? Let me see. Let's go. Okay, good. Now, please, the next thing that I would like to talk about is what we call opportunity cost. Opportunity cost. What do you understand by opportunity cost? Who can tell us the meaning of opportunity cost? Good. Let us say you go to the canteen to buy food. You are going to buy food. Let us say um, the food costs, um, there is one that costs, let's say, 30 rand. Then there is a, let's say there's a medium plate. Let's say there is a medium plate. A medium plate that costs 30 rand. Then there is a large plate that costs 50 rand. Then when you were going to the canteen, you wanted to buy this one, the one for 50 rand. But when you got there, you wanted to buy a drink. The and the drink was costing 20 rand. So now you realize that with your 50 rand, you cannot buy the large plate, 50 rand. So in order to buy the drink, you must forgo the 50 rand, the large plate, and buy the small plate before you can buy the drink. So now when we say opportunity cost, we simply mean that what you have to give away in order to have another thing. Have you seen that? So here you have to give away 20 rand of your plate, of your worth of your food in order to have your drink. So the opportunity cost of buying your drink is giving away a medium plate to have a large plate. Do you get the picture? Yeah, good. That's what Paula have written here correctly. It's the loss of other alternatives when one alternative is chosen. Good. So that means that you are going to lose one alternative when you choose the other alternative. That's what we call the opportunity cost. Does it make sense? Good. Yeah, giving up something in order to have another. That one too is very correct. That one too is very correct. Please, any questions? Please, any questions? Please, any questions? Okay, then let's go on. So that's what we refer to as opportunity cost. That's what we refer to as opportunity cost. What you have to give away in order to have um, something else. Now, the definition can be in any form, but you must be able to just get the general understanding of what we mean by opportunity cost. So, on an opportunity cost, we have something we call the PPF. That is the production possibility frontier. The production possibility frontier. Now, as you look at it like this, you look at it as in actual sense, this production possibility frontier, it is not a line, but rather it is a curve like this. But normally we write it as a line because the opportunity cost is not a it's not constant. You see, so that means that as you go on the line, the opportunity cost increases. Now, what do I mean by the opportunity cost? For instance, here you have 30 fish. So if you are here, if you want to produce 30 fish, you can only have a 0 fish. Or if you want to buy 30 rand of worth of chips, or you cannot buy any worth of fish, you cannot get any chips. So now if we are here, the meaning is that if you can give away 10 rand or I don't know or 10 pieces of fish, you can now purchase 30 pieces of chips, whatever chips is it, but then you must give away 20 here to have 30 here. So the opportunity cost of having 30 chips is 20 fish. Do you get a picture here of the production possibility frontier? Please, any questions? Please, any questions? We are going to close at 2 o'clock. Please, any questions here? Okay. Okay, now let's look at these questions here. Um, I just want to get a clear question. So to understand the meaning of the slope, these questions becomes is that's why I started by showing you the meaning of the slope, because once you understand the meaning of the slope, understanding opportunity becomes so understanding opportunity becomes so easy. So here, you have a company that manufactures airplanes and also manufactures trains. You have a company that manufactures airplanes and also manufactures trains. So so that is what we call the production possibility frontiers. Have you seen that? That is what they can produce. So here at the tip here, it means that when they decide to manufacture 40 planes, they will be at their limit. So they cannot they will manufacture zero um, they will manufacture zero trains. Then if they reduce the trains by 10, that is, if they manufacture 30 planes, then that will give them the opportunity to manufacture 10 trains. Then if they give away 30 planes and now they manufacture only 10 planes, they are only going to, then they can be able to manufacture 30 trains. Then here, if they manufacture 40 trains, then they are going to manufacture zero planes. This is what we call the what do you call it? Production possibility frontier. Please, any questions from there? Okay, then like we can go on. Let's look at the next one. Now, our next one here is about cars and trucks. So if um, you have car, so please, here we can see that our slope is going to be 30 minus 10. Sorry, our slope is going to be 30 minus 10 all over, how do you call it? Um, 30 minus 10 all over, then our x is going to be 10 minus 30. So in effect, we are going to get minus 1. Minus 1 is the same as minus 1 over 1. So the meaning is that anytime you increase train production by 1, you are going to decrease airplane production by 1. That is what the meaning of the slope, or that's the opportunity cost. That's the opportunity cost. You see that? The opportunity cost, so the slope simply tells us what you must give away in order to have another. That's what the slope basically, that is the real life meaning of a slope. Can we see that? Please, can we all understand that? Good. Please, any questions? Yes, what's your question? Dinoke, do you have a question? Dinoke, do you have a question? Okay, good. So we can go on. So here too, if we can find the slope, we are going to have 3 minus 0 all over 0 minus 4. Then the answer will be minus 3 over 4. So here the meaning is that anytime you increase truck production by 4 units, you have to decrease airplane production, car production by 3 units. Have you seen that? So I should believe that now that we understand the meaning of a slope, it makes everything easy for us to understand here. Can we see that? Does it make sense to you? Okay, then let's go on if there are no questions. Okay, good. So here too, if we can find the slope of here, we are going to get 42 minus 14 all over 7 minus 21. Now, 42 minus 14 will give us 28. Then 7 minus 21 will give us minus 14. Now this will be the same as minus 2 over 1. So now here they mean that anytime you increase footballs by 1 unit, you must decrease basketball by 2 units. How do you see that? So the opportunity cost of having 1 football, will be losing 2 basketballs. Does it make sense to you? Does it make sense to you? Okay, good. Okay, good. Now, our next one we have next question say that in graph 1, what's the opportunity cost of producing 20 trees? So you can easily see it from the slope. You see that? Because here the slope was 1 over 1. So the opportunity cost of producing 20 trees will be 20 planes, will be 20 airplanes. Have you seen that? Because if you increase um, trains by 1, airplanes, sorry, the gradient was -1, sorry. Airplanes will decrease by 1. So in the same way, if you increase train production by 20, airplanes will decrease by 20. So that means that the opportunity cost of producing 20 trains will be 20 trains will be 20 airplanes. Does it make sense? Does it make sense? Please, does it make sense? Okay, let's go on. Um, so please, as the first one was just an or was just to help you. When you see that the first one that we did, all of them was a straight line like this. You see that? And the first one that we have been doing, it is a straight line like this. Yes, and you see that we all know by now at this level, all of you know that on a straight line, the gradient is constant. All of you know that on a straight line, the gradient is constant. So we used um, a straight line to help you understand what we call opportunity cost. But in actual sense, opportunity cost is not a straight line, it's a curve. Have you seen? Because as you move down the curve, opportunity cost always increases. You remember that when you were in the high school, you your math teacher will always ask you to find a gradient. But when it's a curve, your math teacher will always ask you to find the average gradient. Because the average gradient, when it's a curve, the gradient is not the same. The gradient always changes as you move up the curve. Have you seen? So in actual sense, as you move up the curve, the opportunity cost always increases. So in effect, what I'm trying to say here is that opportunity cost is not a curve, but rather it's not a straight line, but rather is a curve. In effect, what I'm trying to say is that opportunity cost is not a straight line, but rather is a curve. And opportunity cost always increases along the curve. That is, what I'm trying to say here is that the opportunity cost from A to B, the opportunity cost from A to B will not be the same as the opportunity cost from B to C, will not be the same as the opportunity cost from C to D, will not be the same as from D to E. Am I making sense to you? Am I making sense to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So let us so as I'm saying, the straight line was just to help you to understand what we mean by opportunity. But actually the production possibility frontier is actually a curve, not a straight line. So now let's look at this one. Now this one says it's a production possibility frontier for radios and television. For radios and television. So we notice that um, let's look at if you can look at the first one. Let's look at it. Say that how is the shape of the production possibility frontier different than the first one? Obviously, the first one was a straight line. This one was a curve. So that was what I was trying to explain to you, that the straight line was just to help you to understand what the meaning of opportunity cost and connect it with a gradient. But in actual sense, the production possibility frontier is a curve. So you will notice that let's look at the first one. If I want to look for the gradient from A to B, it will be the point A, as we can see, is 0, 0, and 15. And the point B is 4 and 12. So if I find a gradient here, you find out that I'm going to get 12 or 12 minus 15. Please put on your mic unless you want to talk. Please put off your mic unless you want to talk, please. 12 minus 15, a minute. Divided by 4 minus 0. Then if we simplify, we are going to get minus 3 over 4. So this is from A to B. A to B. Now let us look from B to C. B to C. Now the point C here is going to be 7 and 9. So you realize that from here you're going to get 12 minus 9 all over 4 minus 7. 12 minus 9, we are going to get 3. 4 minus 7, we are going to get minus 3, which will be equals to minus 1. So all that I'm trying to say here is that the opportunity cost is a curve. Have you seen that? And it always changes along the curve. It's not a constant. It's not constant. Understand me? That's why we are getting a different gradient here from a different gradient here. Does it make sense to you, or what I'm saying? Do you understand it? Does it make sense to you, or do you understand what I'm going to say? Okay, good. So please, if you understand it, go and look at the rest. I'm sure once you read the rest, it will be very easy to understand it. I'm going to inform you of our next class. Is that clear? Where we are going to look at from, if you understand all that I've said, it will be very easy for you to read the rest of the chapter. One, you know that opportunity cost changes along the line. You know the interpretation between the gradients. If this one increases, this one decreases, or this one increases, this one also increases. Have you seen that? So in the absence of no questions, it will be easy for you to be easily read and understand the chapter. So that in our next class, if you have any issues, you have to note them down. So that in our next class, I'm going to explain to you further. So in the absence of no questions, I would like to bring the class to an end, unless you have any questions. Unless you have any questions.
Say, can you please interpret the slope?
Oh, okay. Now, the first one, you see that here was 0 and 15. You get that one? You understand that one?
Yes,
The point.
sir.
And
Yes.
here was 4 and 12. So your gradient is going, I'll just write it straight. It's going to be minus 3 over 4. So the meaning is very simple. That if you increase TV production by 4 units from A to B, if you increase TV production by 4 units, radio production will decrease by 3 units. Does it make sense to you then?
Yes, sir.
Good. Then
Yes.
when you are at point C, from B to C, C is 7 and 9. You see that? See that here the gradient is from A to B. A to B. Have you seen that? Now let us go from B to C. Now if you are at B to C, you find out that the slope, as I said, I'll write it straight away. It's going to be minus 3 over 3. Or in effect, it will be minus 1 over 1. So from B to C, the meaning is that if you increase TV production by 3 units, radio production will decrease by 3 units. That's why we say the opportunity cost increases along the slope. Because look at here, from A to B, you can produce 4 TVs and give away 3 radios. But when you are from B to C, you can only get 3 TVs if you give away 4 radios. Have you seen that? That is the meaning of what I'm trying to say, that the opportunity cost increases along the curve. Does it make sense to you?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good. Please, any questions again? Please, any questions again? Okay, thank you very much. There are no questions. So please go and read out the chapter on your own. And in our next class, if there are any issues, note them down so that in our next class, we will tackle them before we continue the chapter. So in the absence of no questions, I would like to close the class and thank you for coming. Okay, so the class is dismissed. Come in. Hello, Dr. Ruby. The next door. Yeah, this one.
The class is this.